Now, let's move to the next bit. So this is map of pi. So obviously, map of pi, you saw the Pi Core team posted it recently before the latest post. The last post before that was map of pi. And I sort of posted it. And I realized that even here in London, we do have quite a few vendors around, you know, whereby some of them are not serious. Some of them are telling me, oh yeah, I'm buying pi, blah, blah, blah. So they're not serious. And some of them actually are selling something. Now, do you reckon it could, or could it revolutionize how we spend or earn pi during the open mainnet? If so, why and how?
Yeah, it will. Now, one thing that we here, we the users, are not excellent in is that we are not excellent in analysis of data. That's one thing we are not good at. But the competition is super awesome in analyzing data. Now, what is the competition? Commerce is the competition. The big players in the commerce industry are already, I wouldn't say they're afraid, but they are 100% conscious of this development. Now let's go a few steps back. Now, if you study the Pi Network white paper, you understand the Pi Network, what we call stack. The Pi Network stack. At the base layer is the blockchain. All right. Right on top of the blockchain is what we call the attention marketplace. Now, the attention marketplace revolves around monetizing attention. Because you see, the attention marketplace have been a thriving marketplace, but not in the Web 3.0 spectrum. The big players of the attention marketplace are actually Web 2.0 giants. For example, we're using one of the platforms right now. That's just the truth. Now, what have we known about the Web 2.0 marketplaces? The big players of these Web 2.0 marketplaces have been tanking on our collective attention. Point of emphasis, our collective attentions. And what do we get for the revenue they get? Nothing. Probably only a few of us who pretty much have secured for themselves what we call influencers like Ray, for instance. They have a little drops from the ocean. But that's not the way it should be. You ought to have been incentivized for every content you create. You ought to have been incentivized for every attention that an external party beckons on. Now, this is the untapped market niche that the Pi blockchain seeks to empower. What am I trying to say? In a layterm sense, Pi Network should be at the center of the future of social interaction, most especially on the Web 3.0 space. Is either the existing Web 2.0 giants scale up, and as they scale up, they have to embrace the futures that comes with Web 3.0, sovereignty, security, decentralization, the blockchain trilemma. They have to embrace it. Or we get new players in the attention or the interaction marketplace that will give us true value for our attention. The second thing, again, it goes a long way to curtailing misinformation. Thank God we're in an era of politics where misinformation is central to communication, most especially across web platforms. And because of that, we have seen regulators come harsh at technology providers across the social interaction platforms, most especially those who have not done a good job in curtailing misinformation, even though there are a lot of sentiments around that. I don't want to go to that detail. But we now realize that because of the features that comes with blockchain vis-a-vis Web 3.0, right information can be incentivized. At the same time, wrong information de-incentivized. How do we mean? We mean that the future, which is a narrative the Pi blockchain is putting forward, is that the Pi blockchain wants to build a marketplace wherein social interaction will be powered by crypto token. Thus, Raise United, that is hosting a place, excuse me, a space right now, should have spent some token to go live. And for you to interact with Raise United right now, you guys doing the like, you guys smashing the button, you guys writing on the comment section, you wouldn't do that in a typical Web 3.0 social interaction platform narrative without you spending your tokens. Thus, why will you spend your coins if the content is not worthy of your attention? Instantly, wrong content, unnecessary content, criminal content will not be incentivized, because the power of attraction lies in our hands. It's just that the token to empower, the token wherein will be incentivized is not in our hands. This is something that must be done at the base layer, which generates data, and the competition will interpret that data. Why are we saying that? The advert industry is the primarily institutional investor in the attention marketplace. A significant amount of their annual budget go directly to Web 2.0 interaction platforms, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, you list it. Now, there is a new narrative that because attention now is monetized, wrong content will be reduced. This is pretty much pro-regulatory. We begin to see how a solution, though decentralized, is trying to achieve what the regulators, or what I call the compliance standard guys, couldn't achieve. Thumbs up for us. Thus, redirecting the brainstorming session of big players in the advert industry moving forward. If I will beckon for your attention, but I must first spend token, and you too will beckon on my attention, but you must first spend tokens, is it an institutional investor who is pretty much an advert company who wants our attention will not spend heavily? Now, this is the marketplace that is the potential marketplace, and that has nothing to do with Map of Pi. Map of Pi is coming to empower an alternative marketplace, which is not an attention marketplace, but what? A bartering marketplace. So right now, we're beginning to see at least two marketplaces distinct from one another, not a currency marketplace as known by Binance, Bittrex, KuCoin, BitGet, as you name it. These are virgin marketplaces that will create the spice on how to spend your pie. Now, it's in the light of the bartering marketplace that the Map of Pi comes to play. Of course, in the beginning, there'll be a lot of jargons and a lot of redundant information, but trust the community, we will filter it through. Now, as we begin to filter it through, rating those who really give real goods and real services, and downgrading those who don't give real goods and real services, that data is like gold. Permit me to say it's diamond. Because the audience that will make sense out of that data, you cannot know the length and the breadth of that audience. Big market players, policy makers, the competition, institutional investors, we begin to see. Now, one thing that it shows is that at the local commerce level, there is a striving economy. powered by a currency. And the name of that currency is Pi. Map of Pi is trying to make this potential local e-commerce ecosystem finite, realistic, with a definite boundary. And before you understand, we begin to enjoin what we have heard for many years, that the internet is a global village. Some of us have not really felt that in real life, that the internet is actually a global village, that the web is actually a global village. So pretty much, what does that mean? You will not be bound by your geography, ladies and gentlemen. I'm leaving Nigeria and I'm going elsewhere. I'm not scared. Why? Courtesy Map of Pi. As soon as I alight in the new geographical location, what is the data repository that I'm going to make reference to? Map of Pi for that specific geographical location. Trust me, my colleagues who are pioneers of the ecosystem have done an excellent job rating those who are known for Q of A, quality of service. I just built on that data. This is what I will say we as users are not good at, making sense out of data. So is Map of Pi primarily for us? To an extent, but I think it's primarily for the competition. Logistics players, e-commerce players. If pretty much by virtue of regulation, they are not bold to come online, Map of Pi will offer them valid data at the legislative level, at the policy making level, to know that this data shows that we can tank on revenue like in 24 hours, sir. Mr. President, these are real data. This is a local economy striving, yet we have not given our backing. What will happen when we and the region, call it Asia, and the region, call it South America, and the region, call it either West, South, or North Africa, and the region, call it Europe, give our institutional or government backing? It's not there to pretty much take over anything, but actually take whatever is existing to the best place it can be. It's an awesome development. I mean, the last time I was in a Twitter space, I was pretty much telling someone, the worst thing you can do is that when all these things are in maturity, you lack one pie to express yourself, courtesy of the investment decision you did, dumping the pie, selling the pie, or doing any other thing around the pie. I have been migrated to open mainnet, but I'm still not ready to spend my pie because I need information to spend my pie. As I said in the last session with you, Ray, the majority of us don't make investment decisions from the point of information. We are just emotional with the decisions we make. And the Map of Pi, alongside other products built on the ecosystem, are only doing one thing: offering you valid data so that you can make informed decision. And trust me, I stand to be corrected, though Ray is a little bit more informed than I am. I haven't found a blockchain that has gone the furthest. I repeat, I haven't found a blockchain solution that has gone the furthest when it comes to global adoption and financial inclusion. I haven't found, because most of these big players are just revolving around users. How many of them have gone to the, how many of them have taken the journey to be regulatory compliant? Like how many? How many of them have gone to the furthest to build a solution worthy of attention of institutional investors? Let's not sit here and pretty much give a tap on the back for Bitcoin and the likes, courtesy of the ETF. Bitcoin and the like are the first generation solutions, and a lot of folks have built on that narrative. So take Bitcoin out of the equation, take Ethereum out of the equation. Which of the solutions have done excellently well? Financial inclusion wise, global adoption wise, regulatory compliance wise? Because you see, I'm sorry to say I subscribe to a little bit weird opinion. I subscribe to the opinion that we should not build the narrative that we are the enemy of the government and the government is our enemies and blah, 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 XYZ stuffs. If you're listening to me right now and you're having some tokens and you are building on that narrative so that you will not be able, so that you don't want to pay taxes, you're wrong. You're super, super wrong. Because you see, the globe should move in one direction, and every stakeholder niche has a role to play. There's one thing I tell you, is only when the government want to take over your privacy and your sovereignty, that is something you shouldn't let go. But you should be civil enough to do what is demanded. I'm not here to do pro-politics. We all know that those guys sitting either in the red or the green chambers, in the Oval Office or whatever office as the case may be, they want to spend and spend and spend without accountability. Well, the future is giving us that privilege to influence who sits in that Oval Office or who sits in that chambers moving forward. Because if you cannot convince us on your policies and how it is compatible, even though we are ready to leave our North Pole to come to the middle, how well are you ready to leave your South Pole? Because I'm not going to go to your South Pole. Of course, I don't expect you to come to my North Pole, but can we come to the middle to prefer a solution for the future? This is where all players that matters to global adoption are significant, are important. So I'm not in the camp of the guys who want to use blockchain technology and pretty much create what we call an anarchy or pretty much do away without government. No, government are individuals like you and me. Just a matter of time. I may even be pro-political tomorrow. So if I become pro-political tomorrow, what will fund my policies? We are beginning to see one of the biggest countries in the world being influenced. I mean, we have seen the political aspirants being asked what is their stand on cryptocurrency. 4 years ago, it was not a question. Point of emphasis. 4 years ago, it was not a question. But right now is a question. Courtesy of the fact that 4 years ago, we had the likes of El Salvador and other places going full-fledged. What will happen 8 years from now? How can we achieve global adoption when all players are not looking at the bright side of collaboration, the bright side of interaction? These, most especially the products like the KYC, products like the map of Pi, are only but creating valid data so that this drive to global adoption, this drive to financial inclusion, all players will see what they stand to gain. And when that is done, we may even have a cleaner and a safer and probably a more sustainable society where we can transact, interact, and pretty much feel the breath of this new wave of financial technology infrastructure. Thank you very much.
Benjamin, that was absolutely wonderful. Map of Pi. Listen, I've gone into it. I've seen what it's about. Benjamin said everything, so I'm not going to even talk too much because we've got other things we need to talk about. But before we delve into it, Adokwe, co-founder of Pi Logistics Limited. I think I've been seeing you on the Pi Chain More Ghana X space. Could you remind me of what the event is all about? I want to know because I want to be involved in some way, shape, or form, even if it means me streaming live for you lot to just, come on, just and let people know what the event is all about. So if you could tell me, I could promote it as well. I just thought I should say, because I know Adokwe is one of the guys that is a regular on PyChain Morgana's X space. So remind me, please. Thank you very much. I'll read your comments, but